prosecute a war that the American people aren't behind.
So the question I would ask to you and to others is, what is the cost of a nuclear-armed Iran? What is the cost to the American people if the world's most dangerous regime has a nuclear weapon?
But the truth is, they don't want war coming to this shore. And when you do a decapitation operation, the likelihood is going to be exchanged in the United States. There's no evidence that we are safer because of this war. We did not have any evidence that Iran intended to imminently attack this country in any way, shape, or form. So I disagree with your assessment that we were under threat.
Senator Kirsten Gillibrand just delivered a blistering takedown of Pete Hegseth, demanding to know why the administration is dragging the nation through an unauthorized war that the American public overwhelmingly rejects. While Hegseth deflected with tired comparisons to Iraq and Afghanistan and fear-mongering about a nuclear-armed Iran, the grim reality speaks for itself. $25 billion incinerated, a staggering burn rate of $1 billion a day, and everyday Americans paying the ultimate price through soaring gas prices and crippling grocery bills. Gillibrand didn't hold back, confronting him with the horrifying human toll: 22 bombed schools and hundreds of young girls wiped out in a single strike, while exposing his reckless 90% cut to civilian casualty prevention. As she cornered him into guaranteeing that AI will never dictate a nuclear strike, one truth became terrifyingly clear. This is a catastrophic war of choice, and a financially and emotionally exhausted nation refuses to foot the bill any longer. Watch this defining moment.
The closed session prior to this, I don't know if you fully appreciate how much the American people do not support this war. It is an unauthorized war. Normally, when you come to Congress, it's a way for the American people to be part of that discussion. The American people, particularly in my state of New York, are upset for a lot of reasons. First of all, this war is costing so much money. Over $25 billion already, estimates $1 billion a day, and they're feeling it every single day at the gas pump with higher prices for both fuel, for diesel, for gasoline for their cars. They're also feeling it with higher grocery costs, and they're exhausted. They are truly exhausted. On top of that, they have so many grave concerns about how this war is being prosecuted. They read in the paper that 22 schools have been hit. They read in the paper about a girls' school, hundreds getting killed. We have a debate going on in this country about AI, a serious debate about AI. And I haven't heard yet from you that you will not allow AI to make final targeting determinations, even when nuclear weapons are being used. That's a huge issue that we need to discuss. So I want to start from the top, Secretary Hegseth. Why do you continue to prosecute a war that the American people aren't behind?
First of all, I appreciate the opportunity for that closed session where we had a, unsurprisingly, very different discussion than we have here with the cameras on. We support this
because my job is to represent New Yorkers, and I can tell you, when I talk to them all across my state, they are furious, and they expect me to explain to them why they are furious.
And Senator, when I talk to Americans, and especially when I talk to the troops, they are grateful for a president who has the courage to take on this threat after 47 years of what Iran has done, targeting and killing Americans, and what it would mean to the world if Iran's nuclear ambitions were actually achieved. So the question I would ask to you and to others is, what is the cost of a nuclear-armed Iran? What is the cost to the American people if the world's most dangerous regime has a nuclear weapon?
But the truth is, they don't want war coming to this shore. And when you do a decapitation operation, the likelihood is going to be exchanged in the United States. There's no evidence that we are safer because of this war. We did not have any evidence that Iran intended to imminently attack this country in any way, shape, or form. So I disagree with your assessment that we were under threat.
Do you not believe them when they say death to America?
Listen, our adversaries use rhetoric all the time. What I'm concerned about is we are not safer, and I would just like to know why you have not sought the support of the American people, and 3 out of 5 Americans are against this war today.
Senator Kirsten Gillibrand just shattered the administration's narrative, exposing this conflict for exactly what it is: an unauthorized war waged without a vote or public consent. While Pete Hegseth desperately deflected, claiming closed-door conversations were different and leaning on tired fear-mongering about a nuclear Iran, Gillibrand ruthlessly shut him down. She laid bare the cold, hard facts. There is zero evidence of an imminent attack, and reckless rhetoric does not equal a declaration of war. The toll is already catastrophic, with 25 billion incinerated at a staggering rate of $1 billion a day. Worse is the horrifying human cost: 22 schools obliterated, including a devastating strike that massacred hundreds of girls. Yet Hegseth chillingly refuses to guarantee that AI won't dictate nuclear targets. He can pretend the polls don't exist, but the terrifying reality remains. 3 out of 5 Americans vehemently oppose this bloodshed.
I believe we do have the support of the American people, and we have briefed regularly what this mission looks like and why it's critically important that we undertake it. And I would remind you and this group that we're 2 months in to an effort. And many congressional Democrats, as I pointed out, want to declare defeat 2 months in. Iraq took how many years? Afghanistan took how many years? And they were nebulous missions that people went along with. This is different. This is a defined mission set that we have had great success in pursuing against a determined enemy who seeks nuclear weapons. And I'm proud of the opportunity to remind the American people, because they believe in it as well, that they can't have it.
You don't care whether
when the American people
support this war.
The American people are quite smart. They understand and see through spin. They know that a regime that says death to America, that seeks nuclear weapons and the ability to deliver. Did they lie about the range of their missiles?
How much
more? Because I saw a 4,000 kilometer missile.
How much more will you ask the American people to pay for this war?
Diego
right
Garcia.
Now, do you want it $1 billion a day? Do you want $2 billion a day? You're asking for $200 billion more to fund this war and to make sure we have.
We didn't ask for $200 billion. I don't know where you got that number from, Senator. I think you got it from the news, which you should be careful what you read in the news.
Okay, Mr. Hegseth, Secretary Hegseth, here's a few more. Let's talk about how you're prosecuting the war. What is your response to targeting that has resulted in the destruction of schools, hospitals, civilian places? Why did you cut by 90% the division that's supposed to help you not target civilians? And do you know the impact of a strategic failure at a war when you have so many civilian casualties? You may have tactically completed a mission well, but strategically is not meeting your goals because of the harms to civilians. What is the cost of that?
Let's leave time for an answer.
No military, no country works harder at every echelon to ensure they protect civilian lives than the United States military. And that is an ironclad commitment that we make, no matter what systems we use.
And why did you cut the department by 90%?
Pete Hegseth just made the absurd claim that Americans support this war, bizarrely using Iraq and Afghanistan as his winning examples, as if those comparisons somehow help his case. Senator Gillibrand wasn't having any of it. She cut straight through the spin, making it clear that the public sees through the lies and feels the crushing financial toll. When cornered about a staggering $200 billion in extra funding, Hegseth pulled a classic cowardly dodge. He attacked the media instead of answering. Even worse, as schools and hospitals are decimated, he defended gutting the Civilian Casualty Prevention Office by 90% with nothing but a hollow, ironclad commitment. Zero explanations, zero accountability. Just endless deflection while the bodies and the multi-billion-dollar bills tragically keep piling up.
Rounds of questions. Senator Rounds, you are now recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Secretary Hegseth, Congress enacted $400 million to provide security assistance to Ukraine in January. Now, the committee received a notification just yesterday confirming only that the funding would go toward Ukraine. It contained no details about the type of equipment, no delivery timelines, nothing that is typically included in these notifications. And when asked about the delay in funding, the committee was told that Bridge Colby was developing a spend plan, but we've received nothing. So when can we expect the full spend plan for this appropriation? And Madam Chair, can I, if this is not already part of the record for the committee, can I enter it into the record?
Without objection.
We acknowledge and are executing on the European capacity building amount of $400 million that you referred to. Undersecretary Colby's done a great job looking at options and worked very closely with our European commander, General Grinkowitz. So his requests of what makes the most sense will inform what ultimately is invested in.
Well, this notification says that UCOM coordinated on the spend plan in March, but General Grinkovich told this committee on April 16th that he had not yet been asked to review any spend plan for this appropriation. So, General Kane, have you received the spend plan for funds in Ukraine, and have you asked the UCOM commander for his concurrence?
I do not believe so, but I will find out, Senator, and get back to you by the end of the day.
Thank you. And yesterday, Mr. Hurst, you told the House that you needed to seek legal review to appropriate the funds as Congress intended. So can you share with us what the nature of that legal review is? And seems to me the law was pretty clear. I saw it. It was part of the defense appropriations bill that we passed in January. And as you know, violating congressional intent on appropriating funds is a violation of the Impoundment Control Act. So what's the nature of the legal review that you have to get?
Just like that, the hearing pivots from Iran to Ukraine, exposing the exact same pattern of bureaucratic evasion. Congress greenlit $400 million months ago, yet the notification that finally dropped yesterday is practically blank. 0 equipment lists, 0 delivery timelines, absolutely nothing. The excuse? They are allegedly still developing a spend plan. But the narrative immediately falls apart. Official documents claim UCOM coordinated this plan back in March, yet the European commander testified in mid-April that no one had even asked him to review it. General Kaney admits he hasn't seen it either. Now, the comptroller is suddenly demanding a legal review to release funds that Congress already explicitly appropriated. Make no mistake, this isn't careful stewardship. This is an arrogant administration treating congressional mandates like optional suggestions, banking on the hope that nobody notices their blatantly fabricated paperwork.
Senator, what we were looking at is if we could use the funds in the same manner as USAI, and we had our counsel look at that. And so they provide us a legal opinion on how the funds could be used to support European capacity building.
And can you share with this committee what that legal opinion is?
Ma'am, I don't have a copy of that, but we can ask the OGC office if they can supply it to you.
Madam Chair, can we ask that that legal opinion is shared with the committee officially? Thank you. Also, I don't know who can answer this, but it says that consistent with the President's priority to shift the financial burden of Ukraine support to European partners, the United States will seek commensurate financial contributions via the Prioritized Ukraine Requirements List, or PEARL, from the European partners for this program. So what's the justification for using PEARL when there's $400 million in appropriated funds? Can somebody answer?
PEARL is a reflection of the President's priority and the belief that any weapons that are supplied are paid for by European partners and used as they see fit, whether it's Ukraine or somewhere else.
But that was not the intent of Congress in providing that $400 million. As I understand the PEARL program, the Europeans purchase those weapons from the United States, and they pay for them. But this appropriation was $400 million that Congress expected to be provided to Ukraine, not paid for by the Europeans, but provided from the United States to support Ukraine. So again, I don't understand what the justification is for using PEARL when that's not the intent that Congress provided.
We're following the intent of European capacity building, but at the same time recognizing that wherever PEARL can be utilized so that the Europeans contribute to that fight, per the burden-sharing approach that this president takes, is important.
Congressional intent, and that's what I'm asking you, why you're using PEARL to do something that Congress intended to go directly to Ukraine.
Well, we look forward to working with you on that.
What was the legal opinion on this? Did you ask the attorneys if the $400 million could be used for the PEARL program?
Let's get back to you. We'll take it for the record, ma'am.
Thank you. And what portion of the funding that's committed from the Europeans under PEARL is being used to assist Ukraine rather than restocking our own shelves? Can you answer us that?
That's up to Europe. Ultimately, Europe pays for any weapons that we provide, and they can utilize them as they see fit, whether it's Ukraine or otherwise.
Let's be absolutely clear about the masterclass in accountability that just unfolded in that hearing room. Senator Kirsten Gillibrand did not show up to score cheap political points. She arrived to permanently engrave this administration's unauthorized war into the public record. Facing a visibly evasive Pete Hegseth, Gillibrand dismantled the facade of this conflict, exposing it as a catastrophic war of choice waged entirely without the consent of the American people. Congress never voted to deploy forces against Iran. There was no democratic debate, no public deliberation, and zero formal authorization under the War Powers Act. Instead, a unilateral executive decision set the colossal machinery of war into motion. The stark contrast between an elected official fighting for transparency and a political appointee shielding an unchecked executive could not have been more striking. The financial devastation of this bypassed democracy is already staggering. While the Pentagon attempts to pacify the public with a vastly understated official figure of $25 billion, or independent analyses track a horrifying $71.8 billion incinerated in just the first 60 days alone, an unforgivable burn rate of $1.2 billion every single day. This isn't some abstract budgetary shell game. Everyday Americans are footing the bill in real time. Constituents are furiously reporting the agonizing squeeze at the gas pumps, with prices surging well past $5 a gallon, skyrocketing grocery bills, and diesel costs strangling supply chains. With Goldman Sachs escalating the risk of a recession to 30%, working families are being financially bled dry to fund a relentless conflict they fundamentally reject. Beyond the economic hemorrhage lies an even darker reality, a catastrophic human toll deliberately obscured by a bureaucratic spin. Gillibrand relentlessly cornered Hegseth on the undeniable carnage, confronting him with the horrifying reality of 22 schools obliterated, including a devastating strike on a girls' school that massacred hundreds. When she demanded to know why the administration ruthlessly slashed the Civilian Casualty Prevention Division by 90%, Hegseth offered nothing but the hollow, rehearsed talking point that no military works harder to protect lives. Even more chilling was his complete refusal to guarantee that artificial intelligence would never be handed the final authority to dictate nuclear targets, revealing an administration utterly devoid of accountability and terrifyingly comfortable with unprecedented collateral damage. The political reality is just as damning as the battlefield statistics. A staggering 60% of Americans view this conflict as a monumental mistake, pushing disapproval ratings to catastrophic depths not witnessed since the darkest chapters of the Iraq and Vietnam Wars. Yet, Hegseth attempted to gaslight the room, defending this historically unpopular bloodshed by continuously pivoting to the fear-mongering hypothetical of a nuclear-armed Iran. Gillibrand fiercely rejected this manipulation, pointing out the glaring absence of any evidence suggesting an imminent attack on the homeland. Hegseth spoke like a subordinate, desperate to appease an audience of one, while Gillibrand channeled the exhaustion and fury of millions who demand to know why their hard-earned taxes are bankrolling an endless, unauthorized war. If you refuse to accept the sanitized theater of mainstream media and demand this level of unfiltered accountability, subscribe to Political Frontline, drop a comment, and join us to keep this independent coverage alive.